Hello, everybody. Welcome back to DM Writer's Room, Season 3, Episode 1. Woo!
Woo!
We did it.
Powerful
We're
stuff.
In.
It's
and
been...
the reason it's Season 3...
Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was about to say,
hit him with it.
We completely missed our 1-year anniversary is the answer. It was in July. We began this show so long ago because we decided we wanted to make a world together and thought it would be fun to get paid to do that. And so we did it on stream, which proved to be very fun. We made the world of Prospect. In other downtime and in-betweens, we've started throwing things forward to what we sort of tentatively called Prospect 40K, a sort of 1930s noir version of that world that is post-apocalyptic. And I continue to pound the drum that we should make the fantasy version. But today, we are starting a new long-term project because we are at the beginning of... We are slightly after, we're 2 months and a little bit after the beginning of a new year of this show. So it's Season 3, Episode 1, and we are going to try to take on the mighty Herculean task that actual Wizards of the Coast has, I would say, done a sort of middling job on several times, of writing a full-sized campaign adventure, like a book, like a whole book. We're going to try to do that as a collaborative whole, and that's going to be... probably a little chaotic. You should kick them off with what the concept is as we start.
All right, so we're setting this in technically the Forgotten Realms, but we're able to move off of that.
Hi, Fantasyville.
Yeah, High Fantasyville, exactly. Given the OGL and publishing requirements, we need to be a little tentative about where we place things. If we want it to be D&D centric, we can't use proper nouns. So any names, city names, town names, those are all out. So it has to be Fantasyville, USA, which is what we're going to be doing. But it's going to be essentially built for the world's greatest role-playing game.
The best way for me, we're making it for Monster of the Week. Sorry. The best way for me to think about it is we are creating it with the goal of it being completely compatible with 5th edition, which means that all of the things that are kind of specific to the Forgotten Realms need to be at least semi-accounted for. These are things that a lot of us don't think about, like Purple Dragon Knights, are a very specific, weird thing. A lot of the subclasses and classes make reference to that. And so a lot of the times when we say we're making something like in the Forgotten Realms, we don't mean we're going to go through the incredibly long list of gods, deal with the weird history, and Ao is going to show up. We mean you can be an artificer or you can be a tiefling, and nobody's going to be like, look low, what demonic beast is this? They're going to be like, oh, it's a tiefling. The goal is that internal to the world, nobody's going to be confused if an Aasimar shows up at the bar. They're going to be like, oh, it's an Aasimar, it's a descendant of a celestial. And that sort of hand-waving... everybody treats as very casual, but at the end of the day, if you're making a setting like Prospect, like we did, which is in no way connected, all of a sudden you have a bunch of homework to do, where you're like, wait a minute, what is an Aasimar here? Can angels in Prospect fuck? You've got questions you didn't know you had to answer. So our goal is to sort of set some of those questions aside and move ahead. By embracing those things as they come to us. And maybe we, again, need to chat it out a little bit, seeing how much of that lore becomes helpful to us. The concept beyond that is that at least Spencer and I brought a potential baddie and theme. Michael is an incredibly busy gentleman. Michael, did you have time to pencil something together?
In the last 5 minutes, I got something.
Okay, great. And so in the interest of that, I'm going to kick off. This is a pretty... what we choose, we will be doing for months.
We're not dice rolling on this one.
No.
I'm telling you right now, this is a vote. This is a long-term concept.
I am going to pop open my dice bin, though, because we, in the past, have learned that leaving some things to chance helps us not pull our hair and teeth out. So...
100%. I think that adds to the randomness in D&D.
Yeah. It can, and it also helps because we all are 3 Western white men, and so we have a way we think about the world, and adding an element of randomness tends to be a good sort of workaround for that in a pinch. All right. I'm going to start with mine because I introduced the concept, and I'm excited. My big villain is an adult blue dragon, which means that our adventure will be from level until level like 12, probably. Level 12 is when a party can fight a blue dragon mano a mano, and it is a hard encounter. And the two fantasy themes that I was drawn to are, one, an epic journey, so I want some like distance, and two, the quest for knowledge. I think is probably our villain's thing. I think my blue dragon is looking for something.
Very nice. All right, I'll take it away for the next one. My trope is the protagonist's journey to villain, also known as the face heel turn. So, this is a former champion of the lands, a hero, as you all are now, an adventurer, as it is, who, after saving the world, destroying the artifact, keep plunging the world back into the light from the darkness, whatever, has been either infected or has had a massive change of heart after the adventures and becomes the villain, a la Anakin to Darth Vader.
Gotcha.
Whether it's a wizard or a paladin or something like that, I'm not totally sold one way or another, but that's my trope.
So you just got the trope.
Yeah, and this setting would be the area that they had been most apt in. Maybe they're a lord of that place now. I don't know. That'll keep it locked in. You'd hunt down random stuff. But yeah, that's it. I'm not going to go any more specific than that. Michael.
All right. So the quick idea that I got, theme, it's never what it seems. The villain, like an archmage, arc sorcerer, arc wizard, illusionist.
Ooh, interesting.
And the big thing with him is you never know if he's really the good guy or the bad guy.
See, here's the thing. I love to play with that in my games. It's hard to do it right. It's hard to get you to be like the anti-hero, maybe hero.
Hard to write
maybe
down.
Villain. Yeah. I love to do it though.
Yeah, I mean they definitely delve into that in like not Baldur's Gate, Waterdeep, Dragon Heist. Kind of depending on the season you roll, you can kind of end up as a more or less positive force in the world. And there is certainly, it's important to remember that we would be hopefully creating something a little bit more toothsome, because that is sort of the major complaint about a lot of pre-written adventures, is that there is, it's a lot of like, we're Bo, Bob, and Bink, and we're here to save the world. There's a lot of like, it's Tiamat, or it's Auril, like it's some neutral evil god. Kind of takes a lot of the zhuzh out of the sides. All right. How do we even want to begin? I have no concept at all. How do we even want to start talking about who has won? Oh, I could have done another were-rat joke. Damn it! I gotta start. I'm throwing out the blue dragon.
Waterdeep.
It's a were-rat. He's been awakened from a cemetery. No. So how do we want to go? So our three options is we've got a blue dragon, we've got a hero turned villain, and we've got an illusionist archmage. Thankfully, illusionist archmage and blue dragon are both in about the same CR range, right? I'm CR 16. Illusionist archmages are like CR 19, so it's not too hard to. That means we're aiming for the same window, right? Level 12 to level 15. The hero character, we don't. I am a. What's the opposite of an advocate? I'm the opposite of an advocate for making leveled stat blocks for bad guys. So that is just sort of free reign, right? You could stop at whatever level you like.
It's a custom character.
So I guess.
All right, I think our best way to do this would be tiered voting. We get 3, 2, and 1 point to give to each proffered idea.
Famously exciting radio.
Yeah, I know.
Do we want to be able to vote for ourselves, or do we think that that's going to end up with each of us giving ourselves the 3 and wasting time? Is anybody here's their own idea not their favorite?
Yeah, I was
not my favorite.
Okay, well in that case we can just say what we're gonna vote for. We're not gonna vote for ourselves necessarily. Michael, what are you gonna vote for?
You guys both have good ones.
Yeah, I mean we're cursed. We're cursed with good ideas. What
It's
can I
deeply
say?
funny for me and Spencer to be like, yeah, no, it's largely our sort of day we're not at work that we had to think about this, and Michael to be like, just got off my shift at the mines. let me go down into them fantasy mines, start digging up some imagination.
Disclaimer: I work a very sciencey job. I work a X-ray.
Michael is a woman
radiation.
in STEM.
Yes. But yeah, so going from science fantasy takes me a second.
It's a rip. All right, what are your votes though, Miguel?
See, I think I go with Spencer's because the heel turn's always a really cool idea. Plus, something about small like larger than life dragon, cool. I'm scared about a little guy who's big, who's strong. It's the Dark Souls in me.
Dark Souls in you. All right, cool. So we've got so thankfully all our names begin here different. So Spencer's getting your full 3-point vote. Who gets your 2-point vote? Is it your own or is it the Blue Dragon?
Nah, you do.
All right, and then a 1 for your own. I would
And
give you a lecture
unfortunately-
about self-esteem, but some other time, I suppose.
I was gonna give Ethan my 3-point vote and me my 2-point vote. So Ethan, you are the tiebreaker between me and you.
This is the most hurtful thing that's ever happened.
I changed my vote to Were Rat.
Change your I switch. Actually, weirdly, now that it's only up to me, I change my initial idea to Were Rats, and then I vote for myself with all 3 votes, so that we're stuck in Were Rat Town. I think that ironically, even though Spencer said that he did not want it to come down to a die roll, I am, can I say something? Tragically uncomfortable with being like,
That's the life.
it's mine or it's Spencer. So I'm just going to roll. I don't have a sort of dynamic way to do this for streams. That is unfortunate. I apologize. Spencer, do you want odds or evens?
Evens, baby. Even Stevens.
Michael,
So
what were you about to say?
I see. Your vote wasn't for me to have the 3 points. I got
Yeah,
it.
I could really-
it was a 3-way tie.
Actually, it would have been no,
I know,
but somebody
Ben.
one of the two of us still would have gotten the 2, which would have disrupted our genius plan. So Spencer, odds or evens?
Evens.
Evens. All right, cool. I'm going to roll 1d20. I've got my green from my big bucket o' dice. Let's see what the vibe is.
It's a 16.
It's an 18. It goes to Spencer Mayo. I'm crushed. I'll never forgive you. I'm going to shoehorn a blue dragon in this campaign somewhere.
So
It's actually a dragon rider is the thing. That's the reveal.
It's a blue dragon that was a hero and is now a villain who does illusion magic.
It's all in
It's
there.
full circle.
I will say, I think we can still use our 2 ideas for other stuff.
You know, because we're going to be doing this long form, I have a very fun idea that I think I may declare necessary. I think that the 2 losing ideas become lieutenants
Yeah,
for our victor here. So I think that Spencer wins the pot, and that an illusion wizard and something connected to blue dragondom, perhaps a young blue dragon, will also make a sort of fantastical appearance. So we've got a lot of sort of busy work to get out of the way that I think it's pretty important to set up ahead of time, because it's going to sort of box in where we start and end. So, Spencer, like you said, we're doing this sort of number one. You were flip-flopping between a corrupted hero or a hero turned villain. Now, those are completely different, right? So, corrupted hero would be somebody that is either infected by something or has been turned magically into a villain, which means players will try to save them. Option 2 is a player who has is a hero who has just become a bad guy, who has decided that the world is not worth saving, something along that lines, which the players are markedly less likely to try to sort of right the ship and turn them back around. Do you have a preference between those 2, or are you sort of still flip-flopping?
Now, here's the thing. Me personally, when I'm running a game, I would go for the cursed hero that is in need of saving. But I also know that on average, players appreciate a true blue villain more than they appreciate a redemption story for the BBEG. It's probably better to do a wholeheartedly evil person who used to be good. so you have somebody to smite.
It's so funny that you say that. I've never run Curse of Strahd where the party didn't want to make Strahd be a good guy. Like, it's never...
Strahd is so compelling. Compelling.
Whenever I watch... Yeah, but he's not. Like, this is, for the record, for anybody watching in the distant future, this is an infamous thing for me. I hate Curse of Strahd. I hate Strahd. I hate the map. I hate Barovia. I don't even want to talk about it.
How many times have you run or played Curse of Strahd?
Three times.
I've played Curse of Strahd once. I've run Curse of Strahd twice. I've run parts of Curse of Strahd 5 times. And it's everybody always wants to save Strahd and make him a good guy every single time. And it's so funny because whenever I watch TikToks about this kind of stuff, they're like, those compelling, like, are they good or bad villains can be fine. But at the end of the day, try to put in things that players can focus on. And then every player I've ever met is like, oh, the bad guy, he's my new best friend. I'm going to do whatever it takes to save them.
I can fix him.
Yeah. So, okay, so we're doing a hero to villain story, and it sounds like you want to go... irredeemable is the most important thing, right? If they are infected, it is irreversible. If they are not infected, they have truly become villainous. So basically, the only important thing I'm going to note here is it's a sort of no quarter situation, right?
I was going to say this could be put to a vote because this is the first important decision. I don't want to railroad this part of it. This is open to you guys as well.
I have one thing. If you're open to it, I think it could be rumored that he's been corrupted, but he's not. He is just evil now.
Yeah, a red herring is that, like, oh, if you collect this artifact, it can free him. Not
and then you
true.
use it on him, and he just smashes it and laughs in your face.
He takes it and is like, thanks for getting this for me.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
great.
generally, I don't like the save the corrupted person thing because it makes the players not the coolest person in the room. Right.
Yeah.
If at the end of Descent into Avernus, you save Zariel and turn her back into an angel, she teleports you out of the 9 hells, and you're like, okay, so Zariel saved the day? Like, there's always that moment of like, great, I'm glad your story's cool and has a good ending. Mm-hmm. We found the gems that had your soul in them, but no, it's cool that you got to fight Asmodeus as we escaped. No, that's awesome. So, like, that's always kind of an eye roll, right? And we don't want to encourage DMPC ships. So I think that we're going to go with this sort of no quarter option, where what matters is that the villain at the end of the day is a villain. Question 2. When do we want to end, and why is it before level 15? If you say something later, here's all I care about. I don't want to touch a 9th level spell because it's just annoying. It's just, if at that point start a homebrew game, they're gonna be able to cast Wish and Teleport and Plane Shift and Gate, and it's like, we can't do this. We are not equipped. I was aiming for 12. Michael inadvertently was aiming for 15. Do you want to be somewhere there? Did you want to shoot a little lower?
I was gonna say this feels like a level 10 type beat. A former hero turned villain after entering into retirement. That sounds like level 10.
Completely depends on the villain.
Yeah.
Are you just saying that because you like level 10 as a cutoff? Or?
That just feels right.
Let me pop open some level scaling in a tab that will not disturb everything.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, over here. I do Discord full screen, Streamlabs half screen, and then half a screen of Chrome all the way over here. Tends to be
rough.
My sort of go-to. Yeah, I don't understand why Streamlabs can't just grab from it without it being maximized. But I'm sure somebody could. I'm sure somebody very smart could explain that to me. I'll grab a spellcaster, a fighter, and a half-caster, and just see if I scroll down to that level table. So if we stop at 10, we are getting major capstone like class abilities. So a barbarian is getting a new path feature, a cleric is getting their first shot at divine intervention, and a paladin is getting their aura. The real question is, do we want to hit the level 12 ability score improvement, or do we want to cut out before the level 12 ability score improvement? So the last level up they get before they leave this adventure, do we want that to be the level 11 to 12 ASI, or is there somewhere else that we think is better to stop? Because level 9 is a good place to stop because they go from +3 to +4 proficiency. Level 13 is a good place to stop because they go from +4 to +5. And then 12 is good because of the ASI. 10 is kind of in the middle, but what's good about 10 is it's 11 is in the middle, but it's also when we get 6th level spells. So we've got a pretty compelling case for basically all of them around there.
Would we want to say you fight BBEG level 10, defeat end campaign level 11? Or do we want to say you get to BBEG level 11, fight?
We shouldn't concern ourselves too much with a level that we don't play.
Yeah.
So it's fine. So if you wanted to say, like, we can say at the end of it, like, when the BBEG is dead, you're level 12, have a great day. But that level's not part of our adventure.
No, but I was just wondering where we wanted that to land.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of sending them off with one more level up, mainly just because it sort of solidifies, like, and then do whatever you want after this. Right? Ending at level 11 means you've got a lot of runway ahead of you. And you can just do with that, whatever you will. We'll try to be good designers, so I think we'll probably stick in a couple of plot hooks that sort of signal that there is this more that could happen, right? We'll probably have them, like, I don't know, the BBG's going to be talking to, like, a dark thing from the far realm. We're going to put a couple of things in where it's like, here's a problem that you could go solve after you're done. Yeah, let's call it... Oof, God, it's tough. It is tough. 10 is such a round number, though. It's like level 1 to level 10. You're like, we're done at 10.
10.
Michael, what were you about to say?
I like 11 because of the level 6 spells. It's just that last little oomph.
Yeah, let me take a quick. This is very important. Let's see what the level 6 spells are, so that we can make sure that we don't sort of shatter our game into a billion pieces. I'm going to click over to all spells, and then I'm going to go to the only ones that matter when it comes to destroying your game.
Are we doing level 1 start?
No.
I think firmly that you should start at level 1 the first time you play D&D, and then start at level 3 for the rest of your life. Levels 1 and 2 are such a drag.
Yes, they are.
If we really want to, we can pull a Curse of Strahd and be like, here's the level 1 adventure that'll get you up to level 2, and then you just jump in.
We should, just because it's a good thing to do. Like, it's good to tag on the back.
It is a level 3 to level 11 and 12 adventure, but there's a starting adventure too.
Level 6 is so vicious. Yeah. Level 6, you got Arcane Gate, which isn't too bad. Hero's Feast, one of the most famous spells. It's like anti-dragon fodder. Everybody gets 2d10 max HP. They can't be frightened. That's a really good one. Planar Ally means that if you... Planar Ally means that if you shell out a cheeky, 10,000 gold, you can just get, a powerful Celestial to help you. You get the good old-fashioned, just summon Fiend, which is a newer one that I'm a big fan of. That's from Tasha's Cauldron. And then Word of Recall, which is it's a get-out spell. It's you cast it, and you and 5 of your best friends go back to your mom's house and eat pizza rolls and drink Gatorade. So yeah, I think we'll call it... let's say we're going to... level 11 will be our last level of adventuring, and then level 12... we'll sign the check on the way out the door, or do... Yeah, let's just say that. Michael wanted 11 for the spells. We need to progress so fast. So our goal is to go from level 3 to level 11, which means this campaign is going to take 20 days. 20 days in adventuring time. Give or take. It's not a joke, but it should be. All right. So
I have a question about the villain. Is it hero like you're what you think of it here, the fighter, sword wielder, or is he a mix of things? Or
my first thought was paladin, because paladins are always, they already have Oathbreaker built in.
I will say my only grief with paladin is that it is very, very, very done.
Exactly.
Is that
and my second thought, because of that, was wizard, because hoarding knowledge, trying to figure shit out, probably looking deeper and deeper into the past and the former things and realizing how much society failed them in their quest of being a hero, whatever.
Let's
More
hear.
introspective.
I'm gonna throw a couple of options at the wall that I think are so let's just ramble down the list here.
If we want to do something, I don't think it's been done much. Barbarian villain.
Yeah,
So a warlord almost.
I was gonna say I feel like that's a great B plot villain. Like one of his lieutenants is a barbarian,
Okay.
a warlord.
Fair enough.
what up?
Hey, Nicole.
Rhoda Sauer. Thank you.
Bartenders.
Woo! Whoop. So I'm gonna just run down the list, and we're gonna do all our options. Basically, we're just gonna get them out in the air. We're gonna see how we feel. So we've got our
Cool.
because our goal is like real villainy here, and we don't want them to be well, not real villainy. It's either real villainy or past the point of no return. Our barbarian has just gone too mad. Their rage has become all-consuming. Not a good mastermind, right? The barbarian is going to attack everything it meets, so that means we aren't going to be able to do the thing of like clever lieutenants, right? Our barbarian would have to be an evil barbarian, not a barbarian driven to the brink of madness. Bard, just will be a lot of like mind control themes, a lot of like
this is political maneuvering campaign,
political
for
themes.
sure.
Yeah, cleric. We're pretty much just gonna have to do like scion of a dead god. That's really the only sort of affordable option that we have, or a cleric abandoned by their god turned to a new one. Druid, I mean it's right on the tin. Humanity has gone too far. And that's a fun like pure evil route. Is like no. I believe in the importance of life. I don't delineate it though, so it's not so mortal human life is not worth more to me than bugs, and so like you gots to go. Fighter tempts me in a very real way, where it's just like an incredibly talented martial fighter being the villain is always
this
fun.
is a human fighter that whoops ass.
Monk. In a boss battle situation, a monk would be pretty vicious, but the monk is, again, a pretty easy one, right? It's just probably just pursuit of strength. It's like halfway through the adventure, you're right, I was trying to avenge my father, and then by the end I realized I just like killing. Like, that would be the sort of monk path forward. Paladin is the classic. Again, it's like they're either an oathbreaker, or their god has died, or they have been abandoned and have decided the world is not just enough to be saved. Ranger. They killed his.
Love arrows.
They killed his dog. I don't know, Ranger man. What a weird class. Rogue's bad guy to start with. There's nothing hard about Rogue. Sorcerer would be the real like Batman villain. They've lost control, Phoenix Force kind of stuff, right?
The wild match has gotten too strong. Yeah.
Warlock. It would just be their, whatever. Their thing is taken over. They've lost themselves to their thing, to the
their passion.
patron. And then wizard is, I found a spell book over here. Whoa! And now they're killing people. We can't do blood hunter. That's property of Critical Role. Artificer. They got a gun and now they're just kind of just off in the weeds about it. Gosh, I hate to say how much Artificer has me tempted to just have like, what's the bad guy's deal? He's got a gun.
Just love shooting.
All right, so what jumped out at us right now? Let's do a draft. Let's do some draft picking here. So first of all, let's cut the rogue, cut the ranger.
Yeah.
I don't see much benefit from the two of those.
Cool, cutting the barbarian.
Sure. So
I think barbarian's not smart enough. It would end up being too difficult.
So we'll cut the barb, cut the ranger, cut the rogue. Spencer, do you want to cut paladin, or are you still beating that drum?
I will cut paladin. I've got my top 3 already selected.
All right, what's the top 3?
Cleric, wizard, fighter.
See, I like fighters so much.
Those are the bangers as far as I'm concerned. Michael, what are you looking at right now?
So, I got an interesting thought for one, path-wise. A wild magic. Wizard? Sorcerer?
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer, there we go. A wild magic sorcerer. who thrives in the chaoticness of it.
So they're attempting to break down society because it makes them more powerful. That's interesting. All right, so wild magic sorcerer.
And then priest, and then monk.
Cleric,
Fighter was
monk.
my number 4, though.
Okay, fair enough. So cleric, wizard, fighter, sorcerer are our top options.
Yeah, and then monk in the wings.
And yeah, monk is back up. And Ethan?
Yeah, I mean, I'll always take wizard over cleric.
Okay,
The only
cleric's
version
gone
of the
then.
cleric story that I like, that I think is maybe better spent as a smaller thing, sort of like the wanted posters we've been talking about. Cleric of a dead god, I think, is very fun. Like, what happens to a cleric's magic if their god is killed? And the answer being they become a beacon of necrotic unlife is just gets me in a very good way.
You get that blighted land option. Yeah.
But the sorcerer would do all of that and would feed into something that Michael is interested in and sort of seems to lean on the things about wizard that you like, right? The sorcerer can be seeking knowledge. We make a lot of jokes about sorcerers just going off of vibes, but like they do have to learn to do their spells. For me, everything that I want from the monk, I'm getting from the fighter, right? The idea that this is just an incredibly villainous sort of martial force. So what I'm stuck on is I either like the fighter as a thing. Like, I like the idea of this marshal that is talented and a good leader, and the final fight just being with a CR-15 duelist, or with him or with them and some like battle mates. I don't know. The wizard thing I like is I must turn back time. Like, is that I will destroy the world to turn back time, where it's like, but what about all the people that have been born and like the lives that have been lived? And he's like, they'll never have been, don't you see? Like, big tower, big crystal, like, I will channel the time sphere. It's just, it gets me every time. Wild magic sorcerer losing control is also really fun. And then the fighter is just fun because it plays against type, right? There's the joke that fighters are boring. And so a fighter being like, oh no, I just thought I'd take over the world. And it's like, what? Like going on a real like Talos from Elder Scrolls, like, I wanted world peace. I crunched the numbers. I'm going to kill every king, and then I'll be king. Peace. Like, is a fun device.
I am the strongest. No one can stop me.
God, it's so, both of them are so cool. I've got it down to fighter, wild magic sorcerer.
Okay, so
those are the two.
We want to cut the chronomancer.
I think cut the chronomancer because we can still get magic from the sorcerer. And
I will channel the time sphere. Stuck in my head now, though. All right, so I'll cut the wizard. So we've got a fighter and a sorcerer. The sorcerer, very important diverging path. Has the sorcerer lost control of their magic, or is the sorcerer trying to tap into some great unknowable source of magic? Or is it some third, or they like trying to be a god or whatever? You know, the classic stuff.
I think sorcerer has gotten a little more wilded out from this magic and is seeking more power, thinking it's like a way to contain my power is even more power. It's like, no, idiot. So they're attempting to do it to become more powerful.
Sure. So from their lieutenants, I'm seeing like beings from the elemental chaos. I'm seeing a lot of that sort of stuff. If somebody who's not streaming, by that I mean Spencer, could restart that music, I'd really appreciate it. So we're not in eerie silence. So I like so we're talking about like what beings from the elemental chaos, beings from the outer planes, right? Demons, devils. I'm trying to remember the outer planes of Faerun. What's the like giant screaming plane? Pandemonium, the great plane of chaos, right? These are beings that want the world sundered. They're like, fill the gates! Like, they want Sigil to crumble and the walls between worlds to burn to ash so that they can live in one unified plane of magic and power. So that totally makes sense for allies. The fighter needs to be somewhat more grounded is there as exciting of an option from the fighter beyond the like, I'm going to conquer the world to create world peace sort of vibe? I've run this BBEG before, and it was a lot of fun. I ran just a duelist straight up and down, and it was a good time.
The motivation behind it, I think, is a more difficult thing for a fighter. I'm casting my vote officially. I want to do fighter, and I want to figure that shit out.
Okay.
I want to get to the bottom of it.
I'm going to circle...
I can't stop picturing him riding a dragon, because that shit rules.
I'm going to circle our wizard and sorcerer, though, and I want to kick those two's can down the road to a wanted poster to something, because we're doing the time sphere. I'm sorry. I said it out loud, and it just felt good, so we're doing the time sphere. And then from the sorcerer, I got pretty jazzed when I was like... break the barriers between the worlds. Like, I was like, yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Those are fun.
For the fighter.
They're also a little one note, so maybe it makes sense to sort of jump ahead.
The fighter probably, after defeating whatever the former BBEG was in the last campaign, I could absolutely see them gaining control over the forces of the former BBEG. Like, if that was another king or something else. So getting those people on his side, them poisoning the well of the fighter's mind and making them a little bit worse and worse and worse and worse. And then that brings in like, oh, now there's an evil wizard that serves in the fighter's court. So cool, we tie that in. They're trying to break open the chaos plane so they can get more people on his side, their side.
I guess,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we have like the fighter has gained control. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and now they are just a force for something, a force for destruction in the world. That's sort of the classic. It's reminding me of like Baldur's Gate 1 Saravok, right? It's like I'm gonna carve my face on the surface of the planet. That is one way to go about it. Another, a mortal man struggle with mortality, right, is the one that I'm going to, right? It's a human fighter. They don't have access to magic, but want to carve a way to live forever from the world. That's like the classic how you become a villain, right? You just get of a certain age, and that becomes your fear. I think an important question, because we're going with the fighter, is do we want to fight a like spry, fresh off the adventure fighter? Is like, did he finish the adventure at 26 and now he's 27? Or are we kicking it down the road and this is like a 50 plus or 45 plus adventurer sort of off in their distance?
I think kick it down the road. This is somebody who amassed power and wealth, coasted on it for a while, and is now back in the game.
So he might not be quite strongly. He's got the mind of it now.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get into the headspace here. We want them to have allies, which means he can't just be, maniacally trying to destroy. We don't want to go too like, I think I can save the world. Is world domination off the table? Is it not just I seek now to I am Alexander and I have wept and now I seek other worlds to conquer? Like,
I can figure out what might be a good, because I want something unique.
I was gonna say this is not unique. But,
unique fantasy is the oldest genre. So we can't. Unique's gonna be a tall order. We're doing a fighter bad guy. Unique enough. Spencer, what's up?
I was gonna say the lure of ascension to godhood, because that you conquer the lands, whatever. He's still gonna die in 20 years. You get to be a god. You get to control way more shit forever. It also gives some things that they need to collect so he doesn't get his hands on them, stuff like that. What's the name for that? It starts with an M.
I don't know if I want to go super MacGuffin heavy. MacGuffins work well for short adventures. They don't work well for 10-level spreads. The question quickly comes up of like, oh, he has a rogue asset. We haven't been robbed at night? Like, that's not a question players ask. That's a question I ask all the time in adventures, where it's like, oh, we stole the crystal. And I'm like, all right. You have a -5 to your passive perception while you're asleep. Nobody got that from that big old, nobody beat that DC 13 stealth check. Like, it's too easy for a panicky DM to just go, mine, and just, like, yoink it back. Okay, so we've got a couple of ideas kicking around. We got good old-fashioned world domination. We got good old-fashioned ascension to godhood. Those are both fantasy trope villain things that they want. Do we want to pick one of the two of those and try to find some fun subversion, or do we have another direction that we think is compelling to move in?
The only other thing I can think of is him becoming too vengeful. Somebody killed his party adventure group. A corrupt king set a trap for his group and they all died. And that kind of pushed over the edge.
See, this is the problem with the fighter, is I'm like, where are we? I'm trying to chase it, but the vengeance has too high of a chance of the players going, yeah.
He's right, you should kill them.
Okay.
I mean, we just have to. I mean, that's not true. Then we just have to do. The name of the trope is like kicking the dog, right? That's easy. He burns a village down in the first thing because they won't tell him an answer, and the players are like, oh, whoa, we can set that standard in a millisecond.
Now you got me back with Wild Magic Sorcerer again. We're going back to our roots on this day, our 1 year and 2 month anniversary. We're going back to our roots of saying, let's double back again. Because the Wild Magic Sorcerer, it slots in so easily. He's consumed, or they're consumed partially by the wild magic, wants to unleash more of it because that wild magic is corrupted.
You start to really see why we need that random factor when that default he pops up. Yeah. Let's, we can definitely sort of kick somebody down again. I think our fighter gets demoted to lieutenant. We get a lieutenant in the mix. We can even give him a young blue dragon. Like, we can do a whole bit there. That'll be really fun. There will be a couple of were-rats. This is going to be it's going to be a really good time.
Level 3, the first thing you encounter is a town of were-rats.
I tell you right now, might do it. Okay. So a wild magic sorcerer, and
male or female?
We're going to get there.
A lot.
Yeah.
For now, let's we'll either try to like randomly generate that or decide at will, because there's a lot of, so immediately for those of you thinking about writing, I'm immediately like, interesting. So do we want a male-dominated story, or do we want a hysterical woman consumed by power?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
It's tough.
So I think that we'll get there. I think it's pretty inconsequential at the end of the day. It doesn't tell me anything about the character. So they're a wild magic sorcerer, and I'm tempted. I would like to say my vote is officially for like, I will collapse the planes, like unite the worlds, unite the elemental chaos with the material plane, create a plane of pure, where like there is no distinction between magic and divinity and law and chaos. If those things can be shunted into one another, collapsed like a kaleidoscope, then their ability to draw magic will be immense. Or it's the good old-fashioned, I will merge this plane with pandemonium, the plane of pure chaos. I seek to tap in, I will rend a portal 1,000 miles high betwixt this world and that which powers me.
Which is more compelling? That's the question, because chaos, it feels right.
I need to really quickly look up how cool the plane of chaos is in the Outer Planes. That's what I'm currently clicking my way towards furiously. The plane of pure chaos, of chaotic neutral, is Limbo, the ever-changing chaos. I'm just going to read this verbatim. So, TM Wizards of the Coast. Limbo is a plane of pure chaos, a roiling soup of impermanent matter and energy. Stone melts into water, then freezes into metal, then turns into diamond, then burns up into smoke that becomes snow, and on in an endless, unpredictable process of change. Fragments of more ordinary landscapes, bits of forest, meadow, ruined castles, and bubbling streams drift through the disorder. The plane is a nightmarish riot. Limbo has no gravity. Creatures visiting the plane float in place. A creature can move up to its walking speed in any direction by thinking of the desired direction. Limbo conforms to the will of the creatures inhabiting it. Very disciplined and powerful minds can create whole islands of their own invention within the plane, sometimes maintaining those places for years. A simple-minded creature, such as a fish, though, might have less than a minute before the pocket of water surrounding it freezes, vanishes, or turns to glass. The Slod live here and swim amid the chaos, creating nothing. Whereas Githzerai monks build monasteries with their minds.
That's the one. It's, and then the land that they occupy, that they're lording over, is already fairly attuned, so things like that are happening. That is easy. It writes itself.
So in that interest, then I will save and drop this image of Limbo from the DM's guide into our general chat. Sorry, stream, you get a brief moment of weird text, and then I will set that as the background. I will change our background.
I'll do that same here.
Yeah, very cool, very cool.
This way everybody gets a look at what we are dealing with. Yeah, that's pretty metal. I got no problems with that. A little bit of formatting for our viewing pleasure. Again, we kind of said we were sort of going for like, we stuck pretty firmly in a like, oh, it's like a home campaign you can watch vibe. I'm glad that extends to the world building stream, I guess. Great. And this is actually a pretty good fit for the size of Streamlabs. So that's good. Okay, cool. So there is the not elemental chaos. There is Limbo, the plane of pure chaos. So importantly, it's pretty easy to get to Limbo, right? You find a tuning fork made of metal from Limbo, you bonk it on something, you cast plane shift, you're there. So we need something a little bit more dramatic. I have two options that come to mind from what Spencer was saying. One, is this sorcerer caught or stuck in Limbo and seeking to punch their way back into reality? Or are they seeking to rend the wall between Limbo and our own place of being? Which, importantly, they're not strong enough to do. Which is a place to approach a campaign adventure from, right? Nobody that you're fighting at level 11 can do that. So this sorcerer will fail. The question is just, what will the consequences of that failure be?
I vote that they are on the prime material plane and they are attempting to bring down the wall.
Okay, so this is a wild magic sorcerer that seeks to merge Limbo and the prime. And what really matters is whatever your world's chaotic neutral plane is. Right? It's the plane of utter and complete chaos. In old D&D, law and chaos was very much the important line, right? Law was good, chaos was bad. Very like Puritan value kind of vibe. Now it is sort of shifted to good and evil, but at the time there was this sense, right, that the lawful was good. If you look at Gary Gygax's personal opinions, the civilized is what he meant. So we're kind of playing on that thought a little bit. So we do need to sort of be mindful as we move forward. So this is a wild magic sorcerer seeking to merge Limbo and the prime material plane. All right, it only took us 53 minutes to get that nugget of goodness out of there. Good. So that's our BBEG, a sorcerer that is powered by chaos that seeks to gain more. Love that. So what I'm hearing is they were probably sort of like a neutral evil party member. That's a thing that people do. I've long fancied playing a lawful evil wizard. It's never come up, but I hoped someday. They got to the end of the adventure. The party was like, oh my god, we're best friends. We're going to part ways, but we'll always remember each other in the adventures we had. They head off in their separate directions. And the sorcerer remains sort of morally dubious, and so the next thing they work on is, how do I get stronger? They get a crystal from Limbo, right? They plane hop over there, they get a piece of pure creation and discover that they can, like, suffuse with it in some crazy way. I'm like, I want to do this, like, corrupted, right? I want them visually to be evil when you see them. And so quickly, I'm coming to this place of like shifting matter or like crystal embedded in them, something that bears the signs of limbo, this like lightning shifting dark place that they are being empowered by. How can we bear chaos upon the back of this character? How can we make them visually chaotic up front?
Face.
Yeah, I was going to say a very similar thing. Similar to Everything Everywhere All at Once, like the person jumping between outfits. It could be that, face shifting, outfits changing, things like that, just incessantly, never really being able to lock onto one physicality.
Interesting. I like that. So what I like about it is it draws me to, I'm thinking of how I would describe it in game, right? And I'm quickly drawn to, you see a face that always holds the same features. The same base concepts are there, but there are little things that happen throughout your life that change your face. You fall, you break your nose, you chip your tooth, your jaw is set. One day too much of sun puts a little permanent patch of discoloration. And so all of those infinite permutations that are changed by what you eat and where you are and who you talk to, you watch those things like tremor across this face at all times. Like their nose is constantly like, suddenly it looks like it's had a break, and then it's smooth, and then it's up a little, and then down. And then they get some of those like signs of like long-term asthma, where it's like widening of passages, and then they close. Sort of watching those things shift and change is pretty compelling. It also nods forward to this chaos shift ability that I want them to have later, where like, as a bonus action, roll a d6. That ability score becomes a 30. Like, you know what I mean? Something where it's this person's form is radically shifting to incredibly strong, to incredibly constituted, to incredibly wise, like shifting and changing. So I see two ways forward. One is we follow the sorcerer's villainous plan and then we respond to it. Option 2 is we start at the end. Like, what's the plan? And then work our way back to figure out sort of what the deal is. So are we starting with this sorcerer finishes and then I'm like, so what is the plan? How do they make their allies? Or are we at the end like, who are their allies? What are they doing? Cut to the chase, literally.
I think start at the end. And this is my reasoning. You can have the characters going through the history of that former party, this character when they were good, and figuring out, where things went wrong, what happened, what are they planning, what are they thinking about. It's not, oh, we need to stop them at the pass. Pass is gone. The thing is being built as we speak. It's the big crystal's going to go off. It's figure out how you can stop what's already been done.
Gotcha. So what is the end of the adventure? So what is the end goal then? What is the dream here? So first of all, what are we stopping? That is our most central question. Are we stopping a ritual? Is the sort of classical D&D option, right? The last encounter is a big ritual in a big room with environmental effects going on and pillars glowing, and you need to interrupt it and close the portal. So that's interrupting a ritual. Or are we killing them as a source of power? Like, what do we want to sort of close on? Because all adventures sort of prescribe those things.
Are there any like massively big, strong enemies in Limbo? Something that you wouldn't want back in.
So the Slod are one of the most are viewed universally as one of the most dangerous creatures in Dungeons and Dragons. They multiply like like aliens. They're from Alien. They're an Alien sort of spin-off, I think. Sure. I'm not sure if those timelines line up, so that's not gospel. But yeah, they lay eggs in people that burst out of their chests and turn into Slod. So they're bad pretty much everywhere. They are they were created on accident by Mechanus. It's a whole thing. And then there are the Githzerai monks. The Githzerai are, if memory serves, the good guys in a very obnoxious way. Yeah, they live lives of rigid order and float, and rarely deal with any other realms, and rarely deal with the Githyanki, which are the Baldur's Gate 3 has made them incredibly famous. They're the mind flayer hunting space pirates. So the Slod getting out is like the worst. It's like the worst thing in the world. That's really bad. Red Slods and blue Slods are the main problem, and they are just vicious.
Okay.
I think it's stop the big ritual, kill the hero turn villain.
All right. So it's stop the big ritual. I like that. We got a big ritual. That is how we finish. So that is what this whole time, right? The whole rest of the adventure, the sorcerer is going to be trying to gather what they need or gain what they need to perform this ritual. Big gem?
It's
big
probably
tower? Big
whatever
portal?
the most like chaotic elements you could conceive are in this realm.
Yeah, we could go.
Volatile ingredients.
We could go in a really, really fun Norse direction if we wanted to. We could sort of turn and head down the path of like the sound of a cat's foot hitting the ground, right? These like impossible objects is sort of fun, right? Like a hummingbird's song. Hummingbirds don't sing. That kind of stuff can be sort of fun here. Or it can be a little bit more direct, right? It can be like a piece of creation, a shard of divinity, right? These sort of abstract things.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, stuff that the party can feasibly interrupt, and things that just are like, yeah, it happens. The person figured out, the bad guy figured out a way to do it. You didn't interrupt that one.
Yeah, and if one of your players does figure it out, you don't have an answer to have something compelling enough.
Sorry, I've discovered Yagoril, Lord of Entropy, the God King of the Slad, a CR23 creature that lives in limbo. I guess we're just going to have to sort of know that that's a thing.
Oh, I wanted to say, I think that we could have, for a good hero to villain descent, the wild magic was a consequence of their final adventure. They probably weren't initially wild magic fueled. They were just a regular sorcerer or what have you. Something happened, they became wild magic, and now they're seeking out more and more power after that. So that way we have some deep lore for the people to find and use at some point.
Sorry, the limbo creatures have buck wild names.
Yeah.
Kuketh, the Lord of Fetid Obliteration.
Jesus.
What? No, not Jesus. I said Kuketh. That was not a funny joke. Okay. So we don't want them to have always been a sorcerer? I find myself
sorcerer, yes. They were the wild magic was a consequence of the former adventure. That way there's a place to go and they can be like, oh, the wild magic is strong here.
Okay, you're circling back a little bit to redeemable. We're going a little bit in that,
not,
like, oh, they're corrupted by wild magic.
They're not corrupted. They have wild magic now from that. And they're an asshole, and they're trying to get more of it.
So they lost something, or were they a wizard? Like, were they a sorcerer of the Draconic, and they've lost that and gained this?
See, I kind of like it, them being wild magic the whole time through, and it's just built and built and built and built.
I gotcha. Time bomb style.
I wonder what... But I like the idea. Right, this site that is important, right? They first encounter how much power is out there somewhere.
Would the last boss that they went against be a wild magic user?
Picking up the mantle of the former BBEG that was wild magic. A mirror for the descent.
All right.
Or it could be a cult, like cult members that were worshiping one of those crazy named gods. So they just find more information through that.
I think that we are talking in circles a little bit, and I think we need to ground ourselves back in the theme, which is hero turned villain, right? This person was not always a bad guy. They were once good. Now they are an irredeemable villain that cannot be saved. So I like the idea of temptation of power. I like the idea that they killed something, And that introduced the concept that there was this place, this realm, where chaos is pure and unfettered, and where wild magic could become something truly unhinged. It being another wild magic sorcerer dilutes our bad guy. Spencer's cultist idea I like. They can be as high level as we want them to be. It was in the past. So they fought this, like, they probably fought that, right? They didn't fight the cultists. They fought the thing. So what is the thing, right? Connecting it to the Slad is the most direct, and I don't know much more about the denizens of Limbo other than Slad and Githzerai. So I think that we probably are going to end up dipping into one of those two pools unless we have to move away, right? Are the Slad not usable and we need to put something else in there?
Githzerai. They're one of the trademarked D&D items.
But the Slad aren't?
No, they're not on the list.
Okay.
Okay, so let's come up with a new Slad because it's boring to use old Slad. How's that sound?
It's a new slot.
Yep.
The gold Slad.
No, I'm not saying they have to be a different thing. They can be. I like the idea of other Slad. My point is, I don't want Yegoril. I don't want Kuketh. Okay. I want a new cool Slad. So this guy, this fella, those are both gender neutral terms to me. This sorcerer and their party have been following the plot of this cultist. They did like 4 other adventure arcs before that, each one bespoke to one of the members of their party. Their DM is tired. They get to the end. The wild magic sorcerer takes up the high level adventure. It is this being of chaos. The wild magic sorcerer feels compelled. They're like, this is my duty in this world, right? This is part of what gave me my powers initially, is what I'm sort of ringing into. I have to do this. It's my responsibility. They get to the end. They kill this big crazy Slad. They fight this, incredible creature, this being from beyond. And in the weeks that follow, they begin to study it. And they kill it, and as they do, they absorb the chaos that swirls within it. So is it instantaneous in the moment they get a burst of power, they're drunk on it, they become a villain? Or is it, as they study the Slad of the months that follow to see if this threat must be dealt with, they discover more and more about Limbo and lose themselves?
I think the second, because the first still feels a little corrupted.
I agree.
Okay, so this wild magic sorcerer, who has been morally dubious but a good person, kills this Slad and discovers the source of its power, discovers this incredible realm of chaos, decides to take it over, and so seeks to enact a great and terrible ritual to rend the world between the planes. That's awesome. I love it. We need to get a lot of levels of adventure down, which also gets us a convenient plot beat map. So we need to go from level 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10 to 11 and then to the end. Right? And we know what our last plot beat is. Our last plot beat is ascend the tower and kill Gubelbaraxin, the Lord of Chaos. That's fine. So this is our boss fight and the tower before the boss fight, which is going to be like 9 encounters. It's going to be miserable. They're going to have to take a short rest in a closet somewhere. So that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 adventures. Right? So it's the path from level 3 to level 4, so on. And then our final path, which is that which would take them to level 12. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 arcs to handle. That's a lot. Which means that this plot, this sinister plan, either A, we don't find out about it until we're 2 or 3 arcs deep, or B, is complicated, is going to take time and resources and treasures from across the world. So I think a really important follow-up is, do we want to stay in one location, or do we want to move? right?
Stay in one location. Stay in one location. Please.
Okay.
It's so hard.
So the only thing that I'm going to add to that is I would like that one location to be larger than a couple of travel hexes.
Air.
I don't want to be able to go from one end of the world to the other end of the world in a day.
I agree.
Locating it in a city will make our jobs harder. But we also can't do big scary tower on the hill because that's Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
So do we want to do... So I guess, Spencer, I would ask, the jump off would be a couple of locations that are defined could be an option, or we can try to stick it in one place.
What I was going to say is we're talking region. Handful of cities, a dozen villages, and that's it. And the main kingdom, right?
So not even like a state, like a province.
Yeah. And exactly, this is what I was considering is like a provincial lord. So that way you have like, oh, that's the person that's in charge of here. Why aren't they doing anything about this slot infestation? And we don't, back to the first question, you don't find out for a few arcs what's actually going on here.
Yeah.
There are
So,
little echoes. If I can also say one thing, everyone say hello to the Miss Tatchet.
hello.
Welcome.
Wonderful to have somebody to participate. So, well, first thing, and definitely foremost, let me take a peek over here. Our SLAD are CR 5, 7, 8, and 9. So I know who we're fighting. So we can't, like, run into a SLAD until we fight a red SLAD, and that can be our level 5 to 6 jumping point.
Yeah.
Which I like. So we have that as sort of our introduction to the SLAD. We're in this provincial world. Our party is having a great time. So now is when we make the largest decision about what this adventure is going to feel like, right? You guys keep squirreling us away in small scale choices, and we have many more big choices to make here. Number 1, Storm King's Thunder is a large adventure that says, here's a big map. Icewind Dale is an adventure that says, here's a big map. Icewind Dale's solution to that is to put God's railroadiest plot down the middle.
Yeah.
Icewind Dale says, do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A lady rides up in a sled. She says, do what I say. You go there. You do what she says. You go to the second location. You do what she says. It assumes that the players are blindly going to follow the cues of the NPCs. Curse of Strahd does the sort of opposite. Curse of Strahd is in a hyper-limited area, but you get but like a lady's like, find these 5 things, riddle-dee-dee. And it just assumes that the party's going to want to do that. So we need to make this for a type of party, and that will help us figure out the shape of the adventure. So is our adventure a line where we're like, ding, 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 and we get them to the end, in which case we will catch some flack, but so be it, that's fine? Or is our adventure just map the things that are happening, the levels that they are happening at? Go have fun, right? That's Icewind Dale, right? It's here's the things that are happening, and then there is this unified thing. I don't think we should have a hyper railroaded central line if we can. But it's important to remember that railroading doesn't mean telling the players what the plot is. Railroading is, no, you can't do that. You have to do my thing, right? So as long as we leave space, we're fine. But so what is the shape of the adventure? Is it about wandering around and solving the mystery, putting the pieces together, finding the lieutenants that you can, taking them out, and making your way to the big bad? And you're not going to do all of it. Our goal is just for you to have enough to interact with that you're sort of moving through. Or is it the players start here, they find this thing, they follow that path, they find this bad guy for Act 1. We move through some stuff, you kill the Act 1 bad guy. Welcome to Act 2. Find some stuff, follow the line, kill the Act 2 bad guy. The Act 3 bad guy is the sorcerer.
I think because we're dealing with a lot of chaos in nature, let the party be a little chaotic. They can go for this lieutenant because they heard wind of it. He's a little bit stronger than you want to be right now, but you can if you want. You didn't hear about any other things.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one of the few times I'm going to say we should just have it be, here's the map. This is the town they start in. They hear 3 rumors. They investigate 3 rumors. Now they can go one of those 3 paths to figure out more. They go to this town, they go to this forest, or they go to this grove. They find out more that way, then they go this way to the next town, or they go to the city to try and figure out what this magic item that they found is about. Pretty open, because Michael said chaos. We're playing into that theme, I do think.
Okay.
More difficult for us for sure.
So we start in the... it is what it is. We start in the same area. We move from that area where we are encounter, so this sort of like Arc 1, pretty classic, right? Arc 2, there are many places that the players can go, and they are choosing one, and then they will unify at the end, which would be Arc 3, which will push them towards the close. The most important question I have is, are the players only doing one of the options? Like, is there not time? Are they restricted in their movement? Because we can't drop 3 plot hooks and not expect somebody to be like, but wait, we can't. We have to go stop. We have to go save, the crystal of
West Haven.
over at the thing. Like, somebody's going to care about something else. Listen, we gotta ask these questions, and we can't think about it in our heads, or no one's gonna listen to the show. So let's... What's up?
I think some are going to be like go backable. Others are like the big bad took it.
Yeah, you're not expecting
Big
to
bad
just do
killed
one.
the mayor while you were off doing this one. Sorry, guys.
And make it abundantly clear. Be like, this is happening right now. If you don't go deal with it, you're not going to get to do it. That's the DM's job. But you're not expected just to do one. You can do a few of them.
Because the second option that I haven't seen a lot of places, but to me seems relatively obvious, is we can basically write 3 plots, right? And we can... So basically... How do I put this? I need to make sure that we come at this the right way. So here's my pitch on how...
Choose your adventure.
There's 2 ways that we can do this, and I think they're both pretty valid. And I'm going to start with the one that I like the best. That is a tremendous amount of work. So, we write, as we are proceeding, what is going on in Area 1. Area 1, we're like, this is what's going on. This is the immediate circumstances. In Areas 2, 3, and 4... these next 3 spaces before we reach the end, we write 3 versions of the thing, which is basically like, this is what the villains will do if the party arrives immediately. This is where the villains will be if the party arrive after a week. This is where the villains will be if the party arrives after a month. And so basically, we assume that the party will do all 3. And so we say, like, this is Area 2. This is the situation if this is the first place they go. This is the situation if this is the second place they go. This is the situation if this is the third place they go. It doesn't mean we have to do a tremendously large amount of prep, right? We just need to figure out who got sent there, what was their goal. And that will be the condition that the players find them in based on when they arrive. Or, option 2, we keep it real vague. We say, like, this is the villain, this is the plan. Use the stat block that is correct. Right?
Yeah.
Number 1 has a stronger selling tagline. An adventure that adapts to your choices. Like, people are going to like that, and it's going to say, like, taking some of the load off the DM. Option 2 is easier for us.
We're building the whole campaign book on this one, boys. I think hit him with number 1. We're already going to be spending 100 hours. What's 120?
Great. Okay. Super cool. So that is, for me, all I thought we were going to have to get done today. So we've got 11 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So with our last 11 minutes, let's look at the shape of what we have. We got a little lost in the sauce, but I think we came back around in the end in a way that is really good. So we've got a wild magic sorcerer that wants to tear the barrier between Limbo and the normal world down. They killed some great and terrible Slod creature, and in so doing learned of the great power that awaited them in Limbo. They have a number of allies that include a powerful martial character, a blue dragon, and an illusion wizard.
Let's go.
And I don't know, here's the thing, fellas. I'm looking at 3 empty arcs in the middle, and we got 3 bad guys.
Bing, bang, boom.
So those are just taken care of, right? One of these is a blue dragon, one of these is a straight-up fighter, and one of these is an illusion wizard. I like it. All of those things are too powerful for the Arc 1 area anyway, so we would have had to fix that no matter what. And then in our last area, we've got our big bad. We know that each area we want to walk through 3 different iterations of. One is the players arrive early, the second is the players arrive at the midway point, and the third is the players arrive late. We can add a footnote that's like, if you want to run an especially grim and challenging adventure, skew towards the late result on all 3. Right? Yeah. That could be an option. If your players want a grimdark adventure, you can easily make them constantly feel like they are behind by doing that. We know a rough schedule of where we will be running into our levels, and because of our cutoff point, we can put Slod in everything but Arc 1. So, what we've learned additionally is that Arc 1 takes the party from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5, and that's it. It does not need to take them, and the end of Arc 1 transitions them from 5 to 6. That puts the party at level 6 in the next area, which lets them fight red Slods with some allies. It lets them fight a blue Slod by itself. It lets us nod towards gray Slods and death Slods as we proceed, while we mainly deal with these very mortal people that have had promises made to them, right?
The Dread Lords.
Yeah, and what I like about that is it's very simple. The sorcerer is just like, hey, let me break out, and I can make anything real. I can make anything true. This isn't Wish. Wish is like, oh, it can do anything. Wish can't do anything. Wish can do a spell levels 1 through 8 without material cost, or it can do one extra effect that the gods can stop, and it has a 33% chance of making it so you can never do it again. He's like, Wish is for chumps. I'm talking about raw creation, baby. Whatever you want, you can just have. Nobody there to tell us no. Nobody there to stop us. Pure creation. I'll make you whatever you want, whenever you want, right? That's a powerful ploy.
That's evil guy fodder right there. Selfishness, hunger for knowledge, whatever the fuck a blue dragon likes. You got lots of options there.
Blue dragons like to collect brilliant minds. They surround themselves with bards and artificers, and so the blue dragon's probably just like, whoa, like just along for the ride.
There might be some people that are like, I can solve world hunger with this.
I guess one of the Dreadlords could definitely be a good person, but willing to do terrible things. It's not the BBEG, it's one of the bad guys.
It's a really good example of the way that something that will almost inevitably come up is the way that privileged people think about luck versus the way that normal people think about luck. Right? A privileged person is like random chaos, like winning the lottery. And a normal person's like random chaos, like getting hit by a bus. Like those are both the reality of the situation. So I think we actually have a really strong map of what this adventure looks like that we can sort of take area through area. The only area where things are going to get really challenging is that we have 1, 2, so we have, actually, so it's 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11. So 2, 4, 6. So each of the following areas needs to carry us through 2 levels. So those are going to be, so for a D&D adventure, that's pretty quick. That's going to be pretty snappy. We don't need to stick to experience leveling, but I was just trying to record a video about this. There's a big complicated answer to why that's not really true, because CR is based on experience, which is based on experience per day to level up. And that is a whole rigmarole that we're not going to get into. So we're going to spend 2 level ups per area until we get to the last one, which is 1 level up. It's get to the thing, ascend to the tower, end the ritual, kill the guy. Congrats, you're level 12. And then we can just sort of gesture towards what may lie beyond.
And your wild magic sorcerer in the party is tempted to investigate the body.
Something. So I think that's pretty good. This visually shifting cosmetic I enjoy. Our big ritual is pretty solid. We've got 5 minutes on the clock here. What other questions are we left with? Michael, go ahead.
Name of our adventure.
I would like to get maybe a little bit more of a shape. Do you have an idea already?
Okay. I was thinking, I mean, of course, I'm starting thinking of, like, if we have a name of our guy, it's like Kevlar's Chaos or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't have a name. Okay, here's the thing. I would like to have one for the next title of our video.
Yeah,
but
that's
I don't
thinking
have one.
about.
Yeah, I mean, if we're trying to be internal to Forgotten Realms lore, we could do a play on Karsus's Folly, which was the great falling of Netheril from the sky, right? We could do like, Velniax's Folly, right? We can just gesture to the fact that this is a similar action. If not,
Limbo's unraveling.
I mean, most of the time, we're being very clever, and I will say that most D&D adventures are named like the place you're going, semicolon, the stuff you're doing there. like the real answer is, we name this province, like Shermhold, and it's like Shermhold, the ritual ended. Like that's the sort of convention ending, right? It would be, or the shape of the last building is another popular one, right? The Crystal Tower, the Amber Temple, the Keep on the Shadowfell, right? There's this convenient sort of naming based on location, and we haven't really sussed that out yet. It sounds like we probably want a tower in Limbo at some point, or at least to have the option to have that occur, but...
Yeah, I do want to have the word Bedlam come up, whether that's the name or title of the god or Slod that was killed previously, or his town is called Bedlam now that Chaos has taken over. Something like that. I gotta have Bedlam in there because that's fun.
Limbo's ladder.
Limbo's ladder. Bedlam
we'll text about it.
Sorcerer's Bedlam isn't too bad. There's a lot of options here. I think that maybe we need to get a little bit of a better sense of what our overarching theme here is. The thing that's most important is that we want to keep returning to this theme of you either die a hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
As we proceed. Do we have any other major thematic things that we now want to append, right? APHEND, append to the end of this as we are looking at it sort of from this very high, 20,000 foot view, right? So we have number 1, hero to villain, this sense of, the fall, which I like. Bedlam fits into that. Bedlam's Folly is kind of fun. There's a lot of ease there. Is there another theme that we find ourselves ingratiated in? I'll say the ones that have come up for me as we've been talking, right? This pursuit of knowledge we do keep returning to this pursuit of knowledge, and wishes. We keep coming back to this thought of like, what do these people wish for? What do they want? What did this person want? What did they encounter? That is interesting.
Our corrupts.
Yeah, the biggest question I'm left with at the end that we were going to have to answer probably next time is, where's the adventuring party? Where's this sorcerer's allies? Why aren't they here, right? The most important thing we need to, it's important to always set up a reason why Mordenkainen hasn't shown up and go, oh, power would kill. Like, we need to figure out what that reason is relatively
my
quick.
first idea is they're dead. That's always easy. You wash your hands of it. They basically all died because he's got wild magic. He survived the onslaught of this monster they fought and then took it down.
They could be
why
in
Mordenkainen didn't
limbo.
show up? Yeah, they could be in limbo. The reason nobody's shown up is because this person is the lord of this area. Word isn't getting out because they're in charge.
That's pretty good. Yeah, another thought I had with that is this and it's an unfortunate one, but it's true, and I think is valuable about this adventure is like it's a level 1 through 12 adventure. It's like, why aren't people interfering? And it's like, because he can't do it. Like,
they're not that concerned.
The Lady of Pain isn't going to show up because she's like, oh no, he can't do that. He's going to do something, but it's going to be bad like in 2 miles around where it happens. It's not going to be bad for the planet. I'm not,
I do like the idea, Michael, of having one of the heroes be in limbo and have, like, when Slaughter showing up and other things are starting to appear from limbo, occasionally you see, like, a knight in glinting armor turn towards you, eyes wide, disappears again. Like, doesn't ever fully materialize.
I only have one restriction. They got to be dead.
Yeah, it's a ghost. It's
That's
a ghost
it.
in
That's my
limbo.
my restriction in all adventures forever. If a powerful hero shows up, they're dead. They're a skeleton. They're a ghost. I don't care what it is.
Oh
they're
yeah,
dead.
they can't assist at all.
No. They can potentially, like, you catch them in the middle of this transition between being here and being there. They can be like, find the cave. They're gone again. Like, they're not fighting with you. They're not even showing up regularly. Just a spirit you can find between here and limbo.
Okay. So I think with that,
Between here and limbo is a campaign idea. Sorry. Anyway, back to it.
between
The
here
name.
and limbo. Yeah, no, it is good. It's a good. We're trying to name an adventure right now, Spencer. Yeah, that is pretty solid. 831. I'm gonna say this feels good. I like the direction we're going in. Homework for next session. We used to do this all the time with when we were doing Prospect. I think our homeworks for next session is probably, for me, I want to say, what about adventures that each of us have played modules. Adventures. Wow. That term's from 1980. I'm not that old. Each of us have played pre-made adventures. Each of us have played homebrew games. I think something that might be valuable is we each bring something that we really don't like from a pre-made adventure and something we really, really like could be a good thing. Do we have any other ideas?
A list of names for towns and cities. As long as we each have a few, we won't get held up going, Gloomstalk Town. We'll just be able to say, I got this one.
Mayor Schneeb.
And I do want to say,
Yeah.
it is important to note that these towns and cities had their names before the plot, so they don't all need to be named like Crazy Town. Like they can be.
But there will be a crazy town.
There's one. The town of Bedlam. Yeah, I mean, there's always got to be one. But the other ones are.
So homework for next Monday: show up with a city name or like 3 city names. Three city
town
names.
/ city names.
And come with like a pro and a con. What is something about pre-written adventures that you do like? What is something about pre-written adventures that you don't like? Like what is something they return to that you find very like eye-rolly? All right.
Got it.
That's all I've got. Are we good to run?
That's it.
All good.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Here's our plug. 1, subscribe to us on YouTube. 2, follow us on Twitch. 3, follow us on TikTok, where we post memes and DM advice and lore, etc. We stream on YouTube and Twitch. We're going to be getting back into streaming on TikTok pretty soon, now that I've got everything situated again. We stream this every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Besides that, we stream every Wednesday our Theros actual play D&D 5e podcast. I'm the DM, Ethan and Michael are players. You have a couple other players as well. And that is from 7:30 p.m. until right around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard. So follow us for all of that. Otherwise, check out our website, ttrpguy.com. We have advice. We've got information-based articles. That's everything.
If we're ever running down a person, you could tune into our prestige show, Scheduling Conflicts, that only plays once in a while.
Did you guys do that last week?
Yeah, it was really fun. So that is all that we have. I hope that I will see everybody who has attended this stream next week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I bid you adieu.